So I would also warn and caution Falcons fans about this as well. I am not going to overhype what the Falcons' record is over this 4-game stretch. If they go 4-0, great. It still doesn't define or mean anything about what Ridder can or can't be. It would be encouraging. There's no doubt about that. You certainly would like to see winning football because I know that they're not tanking. This is not putting Ridder in to just tank the season. They want to win football games. They want to run out the schedule and try to get a victory in every game. So they're not tanking or anything like that with Ridder. But 4-0 doesn't mean that he's going to be Joe Montana, and 0-4 doesn't mean he's Akili Smith. He throws for 150 yards or 350 yards. It'll be a 4-game sample in the NFL. It's fun to get excited. I'm looking forward to it. But to really, and I understand, as sports fans, right? Fan is short for fanatic and all this. I understand that we want to put definitive check mark boxes, right? We want to say, well, he's our starter for the next decade or this, that, and the other. You're trying to give yourself an idea about what he can and can't do. More likely, what he can't do. I remember when I was watching when Johnny Manziel and Brandon Whedon both, came in the league, different times, but just as those guys came in the league. And I watched a good bit of them. Did I know exactly what they were after a handful of games? No. Can I tell you what their ceiling was or this, that, and the other? No. But what I could tell you in a short amount of time, and what you can tell sometimes, I'll use another example in just a second, is that those guys weren't ready to be starting quarterbacks in the NFL. They were never going to be starting quarterbacks in the league. I'll give you an example that hits closer to home. As we talked about Jalen Mayfield and all that kind of stuff, you only needed about 4 or 5 games to realize, oh, Jalen Mayfield probably doesn't belong in the NFL starting. He might not even be an NFL caliber player. He certainly doesn't belong starting in the NFL. He certainly doesn't belong being the left guard for this team. You could tell all the things. Does that mean Jalen Mayfield can never be a good NFL player or never turn his career around? No. But you could figure some things out that said, this is probably more likely to not work than it is to work. Let's fast forward a year. Jalen Mayfield's not even going to spend 1 minute on the active roster this year. That ain't good if you're a second-year, third-round draft pick player that you don't even make the active roster in year 2. I know you're going to sell me on injuries and all that stuff, right? Okay, right. That's what it is. But expect some bumps in the road. He's going to make some plays where you see that talent, and he's going to make some plays where you realize he's a rookie. Marcus Mariota is the same way. Think about, we're in his 7th year or whatever like that. You see at times, I've said this on the show, you see at times why he was the number 2 pick in the draft. There are some things that he does well. But then you also see why he's bounced on his 3rd team in 7 years. There are reasons for both. And that's the same thing with Ridder. What's the ceiling? What's the floor? I don't know. Is the ceiling as high for Ridder right now as it was for Mariota coming out? Obviously not. Or Ridder would have been the 2nd pick in the draft like Marcus Mariota was. But expect some bumps in the road. It's okay if your rookie quarterback doesn't play well. It's okay if Ridder goes 0 for 4, and again, I know we don't like to attach wins and losses to the quarterback, but if the Falcons are 0-4, and there's a definite possibility, I think they're going to be 1-3. There's a definite possibility, though, they could maybe lose out, all right? Doesn't change anything. Doesn't mean that Desmond Ridder isn't the guy moving forward, and it also doesn't tell you that he can't be the guy. Now, if he goes out there and he flubs it up and he looks lost, he doesn't understand the offense, he's missing wide open guys, he's throwing it to defensive backs and not reading and stuff like that. There are things to use a tell, right? That old eye test, there is a little bit of a tell that says, oh boy, I don't know if this guy's got really the upside that we want. But I expect we're going to have bumps in the road. And I'm taking it one game at a time. Let's see if he can grow from game to game to game. Let's see what their difference is. Maybe the first time in game 1 against the New Orleans Saints, maybe with that defensive front and on the road, maybe they say, we're going to throw it 15, 17 times in that game. Maybe he plays pretty decent. And then maybe by the Arizona game where you're in game number 3 for him, maybe they open that up to 20, 25 throws or something like that. So those are all the things that I'm going to be looking for. I'm not going to go extreme one way or the other because we're just not going to know. I'm glad that this is happening now. I think this is the right time coming into a bye week. You get extra time, you're getting him prepared, and you're keeping your team together so they know these guys know who they're running with on the ones, no real mystery. And you get a chance to have at least a decent evaluation. It's not one game or one half of a game, or you're throwing him in the middle of something. He's got time to prep and prepare just like a regular NFL quarterback should as he gets ready to take on the New Orleans Saints down there. So expect some bumps in the road, accept them for what they are. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Enjoy the run and the process of it, okay? And we'll watch it together and we'll react together. We'll tell you if he played well, we'll tell you if he stunk up the joint, okay? But we won't micromanage every little thing. And I'm not worried about whether they go 4-0 or 0-4 down this stretch. All right, I want to remind you to make Locked On Sports Today your second listen every day. They've got biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, and, of course, the take of the day. You can find Locked On Sports Today on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast from.